Hey, how you doing?
Sure, Patrick Zamparelli. That's the name, huh?
You said it nice and Italian like.
Oh, yeah, Zamparelli.
See where I was?
Nice. Notebook. Get your notebook.
Oh, this is true.
If they move my notebook, I'm in big trouble.
Don't start invading my space.
I'm squeezing in. Hey,
Laura's okay. It's all right.
did you,
She can invade my space.
I can encroach.
you gonna
Hey.
grow?
What? What?
This is just what? I think that's enough.
What is?
You know. We moved it
Oh,
to
yeah.
John, how are you?
Does that mean it's a 26?
Yeah, well, when I asked for approval of the minutes, bring it up.
I just want to make sure that I was here. You weren't here so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't move a meeting forward on the same
To the same day. No.
That was our last meeting.
Yeah. I wasn't here.
Yeah, so, no, they had an October date, actually, later in October. We'll ask.
No. All right, good. I'll bring it up.
I'm glad to see I'm not the
See,
only
I
one
didn't
reading
even
these.
review it because I thought I wasn't there.
Well, you were good.
Well, I should have. I could have still.
Dave. Yes, sir.
Thank you for the Starbucks.
You're welcome.
I was very surprised.
Thank you for the referral.
Did you talk to him? Oh. I'm off.
You're on. Green.
Oh.
Green is always money, man. I did. He doesn't want to list it, he just wants to like see if there's a portfolio. Like someone to buy it, kind of like direct.
Which one?
Nice. What do you have, three?
I didn't. I was gonna get tired.
I got a big ass pile. It's building up.
Oh, I started that way.
You gotta be basic, you're buying off.
It gets pretty big quickly.
Yeah, so it'd be nice.
But I always thought if I got a reference back, but I guess they can always. Wouldn't want to have that kind of ball as well.
Can't keep
If you
everything.
could,
No.
My job is.
Where'd you live, in town?
So
Western Springs.
I have to open up a
He does
separate
okay
office
with
to
like
store
fair
paper.
face.
Do you have to keep
Got
it?
them for good price.
Don't you download it?
Maybe you won't.
I'm not gonna put electronic.
He doesn't want
So my business is shopping mall, construction, and reviewing our plans.
These are all solar panels.
So I still like to.
Why are people here?
It's really hard to review them on the computer. I don't like it. You're right. I'd rather have the paper.
Yeah.
You make notes, you know, with anything.
It's easy to miss things on the screen.
Mm-hmm. So what you've taken us to the panels? What you've taken us to the panels? Has this ever come up before?
Yeah, we've done this.
Yeah.
Jennifer, how are you?
They're expensive. But you're saying they must have.
It's really
Hey, it's you. Okay, I'm green again. That's real good. Okay, so we got already here. That's,
Jennifer, you want these now or I mean? Need a date? Thank you.
Want to give that a couple minutes? Turn the mic off. We need to record it.
Hi, Dave.
How you doing? I have a grand opening ribbon cutting next Tuesday. It's like 3 to 6, just a coffee, beer, so I'd like you to come.
Be there.
Okay, according to my watch, it's 7 o'clock. I'd like to thank everybody for attending and welcome you to the October 9, 2018 meeting of the Orland Park Plan Commission. If we could all stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America I move to open the meeting. Second. And seconded by Commissioner Paul. I would entertain, we've had an opportunity to review the minutes of our September 25th meeting. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Shalaby. We have a question?
Commissioner, may I,
We have a question by Commissioner Zamparelli.
on the minutes, page 2 of the Waterfall Plaza, it says move the meeting to September 25th.
Oh, yes.
I thought we moved it,
Yes, that's right.
So,
Fix it. We're gonna work on it tomorrow.
What is the,
But yeah, it is moved to,
it was
future.
October,
all right.
what was it?
moved to
October 23rd? Yeah, right.
It wouldn't update for us today.
Wow, well, at least you know I read. And that's the only correction I noticed, so.
Thank
that's
you.
it.
So we have a second by Commissioner Shalaby. The motion, the petitioner and the motion and the second accept those corrections.
Accepted as amended.
Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain by Commissioner Murphy. Okay. Moving right along. I make a motion that we open the public hearing on item number 2018-0585, solar panel installation at 10255 144th Street, the Sokowski residence.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Shalaby is the second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. If staff would give us a presentation?
Yep. So the petitioner is proposing to install a roof-mounted solar panel system at the single-family residence at 10255 144th Street. The size of the parcel is .22 acres, and we'll go over the comp plan and the zoning in the next few slides. The access for the site is from 144th Street, which is a local street, and as part of this petition, there are no variances or special use modifications. The property, the single-family residence, is located in the Orland Grove Planning District, and it is designated as a single-family residential use, and it's also in Rainey's addition. The zoning of the property is R3, as you can see on this slide, and all of the properties surrounding it are also zoned R3. They're single-family homes. This is an aerial photo of the house that is of question here. And I'm going to go over a little bit of the development review process. We haven't seen as many solar panel projects recently, so the development review process is slightly different in terms of our public notification requirements for this public hearing. The major difference is that the property owners are required to send certified mailings to all the properties within 330 feet. However, they're not required to publish in the newspaper for the public hearing, as well as they're not required to post a sign. In this case, the petitioner has provided staff with an affidavit stating that they have completed the certified mailing requirement. You can see highlighted in blue, right now we are at the Plan Commission review stage, and then it will follow our traditional development review process after by going before the Development Services Planning and Engineering Committee, and then followed by a final board review and approval. So section 6-314.e of our Land Development Code regulates solar panel systems through an environmental clean technology review. These are the major components of what's required for our residential properties that are looking for photovoltaic systems. Of note, and I'll go through these at the end, we can recap with how this project relates to these. Of note, the solar panels will not increase the visual height of the building. They will not extend beyond the edge of the parapet or roof. They're in line with the plane of the roof and shall not be attached to the chimney. They cannot expand more than 75% of the entire area of the rooftop. We normally would like to provide assurances that there's going to be no solar radiation or glare on any neighboring properties. So back to the project that we're looking at right now at 10255 144th Street. It's a little hard to tell, but you can see that there are the little blue area, that is the proposed solar panel area. So this is a 3.48 kilowatt system. This is the detailed roof layout that kind of shows it a little bit easier. And this will be comprised of 12 photovoltaic solar panels. They will be on the south facing rear roof. And they will be, you can tell they're a little bit inset from the eaves. In total, this system will measure 214 square feet in area, which is about 6% of the entire rooftop area. A structural engineer has also provided assurances that the existing house can support the weight of the system. These are the solar panels that are proposed. They're produced and manufactured by Longi Solar. Each of these solar panels will have about 290 watts of power, and they measure in total about 17.8 square feet in size each. And I believe the overall height for just the panels is about 1.5 inches. This is the proposed racking system. You can see that it's a railing system, which will be flush mounted to the roof. And here are some elevations of the existing house. It's a relatively new house,
Yeah, it's only been there 2 years.
constructed in the last couple of years. So the petitioner did provide us with some photos of the rear elevation. So you can kind of see right behind that chimney, that's where the solar panels will be installed. And then this is a view from, oh, thanks. This is a view as if you were standing on his rear balcony looking at the property to the south. So there are quite a few trees between the neighboring property to the south. So we did ask, as part of these projects, we asked the solar contractor to provide us with some solar assurances that there is no solar glare. In this case, the neighboring property to the south is 140 to 150 feet away. As you can see, there's also some mature landscaping between the two properties. And one of the things that they will provide us is a solar kind of diagram that shows any potential for glare. It's a little bit hard to see in this image here, but they'll show the potential angles of reflection with the winter and summer solstice. So it's a little bit hard to see, but this is the winter solstice right here. And then they're showing here, this is the summer solstice, and then the possible reflection. So it's pretty on the same plane right here. The winter solstice, if it were to reflect, would go that way. So just to recap on our requirements and make sure that this project is meeting our land development code requirements. The solar panels will not effectively increase the visual height of the building. They're at most a couple inches tall off the plane of the roof. They will not extend beyond the edge of the roof. They're in line with the plane of the roof. They're not going to be attached to the chimney. They're only going to be covering 6% of the rooftop area. And the petitioner's contractor did provide us with quite a bit of solar assurances on the solar radiation. A letter was also submitted, as well as a reference to an industry article. So with that, staff does recommend approval of the environmental clean technology review for the roof-mounted solar system at 1055 144th Street, subject to these conditions, which are included in your packet for review. And that concludes staff presentation.
Thank you. This is a public hearing, so there may be petitioners present, or people who have objections may be present. If you think that, and there may be some questions presented to staff. If you think that for whatever reason you'd like to speak, anybody who thinks they're going to speak, I would ask you to all stand right now, and we'll swear you in. We'll do it as a group. So it doesn't appear that for the next one, we'll get that one when it comes up. So nobody's going to speak to this petition, okay? By the way, after I do swear people in, if you come up, we're going to ask you at that time for your name and address when you come up to the podium. So having said that, do we have any comments from my fellow commissioners? Commissioner Schuessler?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of questions for the staff, basically. One of the requirements is that the system does not increase the visual height of the building. What does that mean? How would you increase the visual height of the building?
I believe the way that that's interpreted in the past is you can have solar systems that are angled off the roof or do shift in terms of the, where the sun is located. So with this type of system, it is flush mounted, and from the street view, you can't effectively see that the visual height is increased. That's how it's been interpreted for other solar projects in the past. It's not 10 feet off the roof.
Does that mean that all of the panels have to follow the same slope as the roof? Always?
It doesn't necessarily mean that, but that's how it's been interpreted, where they'll follow the plane per one of the other conditions in here. For following are in line with the plane of the roof and are not attached to the chimneys.
Okay. The other question is, there's a requirement that the panels can't exceed 75%. What's the rationale behind 75%? Why not 90%? Why not 50%? Why 75%?
I think when this code was originally established, it may have been for the visual preference of having your entire roof be covered. A portion of that is also, can the structure feasibly support 100% of it? I believe the regulations were adopted in 2010 or 12 when solar panels were also relatively new. So our understanding and how solar panels are built now is a little bit different than when this code was originally written.
Is it permissible to have the panels on the street side of the roof also?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's occurred to me since we as commissioners are going to be asking staff questions, I should swear in staff. So if you would rise.
Commissioner Parisi,
Yes.
We'll do that if you ask us, but staff generally are not required because we are by employment with the village.
Right.
We're obligated to provide you.
Yeah, you and I were both at the same meeting with our legal representative that recommended that I do that.
All right.
So I'd rather err to caution. So you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth matters before this commission. Thank you very much.
No problem.
And I agree with you, Kershit. Commissioner Shalaby.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no additional questions for staff.
Thank you. Commissioner Paul.
Green energy is good energy. That's all I've got.
Very good. Commissioner Zamparelli.
My only concern was the glare, but it seems like you've satisfied that with this letter, with guaranteeing it. So, other than that, very good. Thank you.
And I have no additional comments or questions.
Nor do I, and there's no variances requested, and I'm sure the petitioners understand the requirements as what's presented to them, and there were no fact findings. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Schuessler.
Move to accept the findings of fact of this Plan Commission, the findings of fact set forth in the staff report dated October 1, 2018, and I move to recommend the Village Board to approve the environmental clean technology review for a roof-mounted solar energy system at 10255 144th Street, as depicted on the plan set forth as Solkowski Residence Plan set by AEOS Energy, dated August 17th, 2018. Two dates here, also dated August 14th, 2018. And the specification sheets subject to the following conditions. Number one, that the building code related items shall be met. Number two, that all building permits shall be obtained prior to construction. Number three, that all utility conduits and systems related to the solar energy system shall not be visible from any adjacent street and from neighboring residential properties. And 4, that additional screening of any utility conduits and systems related to the solar energy system may be required after installation has been completed as determined by Development Services Department.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Schussler, second by Commissioner Shalaby. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Nobody opposed? Thank you very much.
Commissioner,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, were those 2 dates correct? You wanted 2 dates in that motion?
There may have been 2 dates because I know that we had 2 submittals, but I will check on that.
I will
Might have- one might have
amend
been
my
for
motion to
specification sheets.
comply with whatever your check finds.
Thank you.
That'll work. That'll work. Okay, so I'll move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations.
Chairman Parisi,
Yes,
we have to close this.
I just did. It's okay, but thank you. I use all the help I can get. Now I move to open the public hearing on item number 2018-0583, solar panel installation at 10921 Sheridan's Trail. It's the Diaz residence.
Second?
And second by Commissioner Paul. In favor?
All right.
Everybody, okay. What I'll do is just, in the interest of time here, prior to staff presentation, I would ask anybody representing this particular petition to rise and be sworn in if they think that they might be coming up here to say a little something. I see a couple of heads nod. Thank you. Raise your right hand. No, that's good. You swear the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth matters before this commission. Thank you. And as you do come up, we'll probably ask for your name and address. Staff, please, your presentation.
Thank you. The petitioner is proposing to install a roof-mounted solar system at a single-family residence at 10921 Sheridan's Trail. The parcel size is .27 acres, and the comp plan and zoning will be discussed in the next few slides. The property is located off of Sheridan's Trail, which is considered a local village road, and there are no variances or special use modifications as part of this project. So the single-family home is located in the Grasslands Planning District as a single-family residential land designation, and it's located in the Sterling Ridge subdivision. You can see the blue blocks surrounding the highlighted property, which is zoned R3, and it's surrounded by other R3 properties to the north and east and west, and then to the south, more single-family homes that are zoned large-scale planned development district. This is a little bit of a closer view of the property. And I'm going to go over the development review process one more time. So like we talked about in the previous petition, the difference here in terms of the public hearing notification requirements is that the petitioners are not required to post signage for the project, and they are also not required, where the village does not post publishing in the newspaper. But they are required to send certified mailings to all the neighbors within 330 feet. The petitioner has provided staff assurance of an affidavit that they have completed that requirement. And as highlighted in the blue, right now we're here at the Planning Commission for review, and then it will follow the general review process after by going to our Development Services Planning and Engineering Committee with final review and approval by the village board. A quick review of the requirements again. So per our Land Development Code Section 6-314.e, the solar panels shall not increase the visual height of the building, shall not extend beyond the edge of the parapet or roof. They're in line with the plane of the roof and are not allowed to be attached to chimneys. They cannot extend more than 75% of the overall roof area, and they shall not provide any sort of concentrated radiation or glare onto neighboring properties. So as you can see, this is a little bit more of a zoomed-in aerial. The blue areas are what is proposed as part of this project. So this petition will include a 7.8 kilowatt solar system, which has 24 photovoltaic solar panels on the south-facing gable roof. Here's our detailed roof layout for that south-facing roof. You can see that the panels are inset from the roof eaves here. And in this case, I think our next slide will show it. So the petitioner in this case, the contractor did provide kind of a more detailed analysis of the rooftop coverage. In this case, it will cover 13.5% of the overall area of the roof. In total, I believe these solar panels will cover 431 square feet in area. Also in this case, we were provided with a structural report saying that the building can support the weight of the solar panels. These are the proposed solar panels that will be installed. Each of these is about 18 square feet in size, and the overall height is about 1.3 inches. And then these will provide individually 325 watts of power. They will be affixed to the roof with a flush-mounted system. And in this case, the petitioner did provide solar glare assurances as well, showing the winter and summer solstice angle of reflection should these provide any glare to neighboring properties. So as you can see, they will not be in direct line of the neighboring properties, which in this case would be to the south. This is the front of the proposed house. You will not be able to see the solar panels from the front. And then this is kind of, someone was brave enough to go on top of the roof and take a picture from there. And then that is the rear elevation of the house. So to kind of sum it all up again, the petitioner is meeting these requirements. And so because of that, staff is recommending approval of the environmental clean technology review for a roof-mounted solar system at 10921 Sheridan's Trail, subject to the conditions that are included in the packet for review. And that concludes staff presentation.
Thank you. Is the petitioner present? Would the petitioner like to make any comments? Your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Eric Peterman, 1612 East Canterbury Drive in Arlington Heights, Illinois. Thank you for the consideration of this project. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Diaz to present the project to you. Just commend you for the review that you've done, and we've worked very closely with Bethany on this, and she's done a phenomenal job of helping us through the process, and I think you guys have done very much due diligence throughout the process. So thank you for the opportunity to participate in it. As you can see, the staff review is pretty thorough, so I'll be available if there's any questions, but it seems like you guys have a good understanding of what we're looking at for this project. Everything is on the back of the house, which is not going to be seen from the front or the street view at all. And like was mentioned on the last project, it will not extend above the roof, so you won't be able to see anything from the front side.
Yes, and staff has detailed set of about 5 different conditions you need to meet, and it seems like we're all in sync.
Correct.
It's good. Is anybody in the audience here to make any comments on this or object? Your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Frank McHugh, 10818 Frank Lane, Orland Park, Illinois. I am the president of the Sterling Ridge Homeowners Association.
Yes, sir.
We were formed a year ago. The development was established by the developers in 2005. The first homeowners moved in 2006, and due to the downturn in the economy, the development was very slow. So last year, the developers basically asked the homeowners if we would like a homeowners association. So within every homeowner in their sale from the developers, there was basically declarations about conditions and specifications for the home. In terms of the Sterling Ridge Homeowners Association, we were notified of the project roughly 2 weeks ago, and we haven't had a board meeting to review. I did pass the information out to all board members, and we have to develop specifications. So what's in the declarations right now is very broad language. I think in speaking individually with board members, I think we've learned a lot about solar panels, as everyone has. We're not opposed. We're working with Mr. Diaz to work through some of the conditions. But the one thing that comes up is solar panels on the front of the house and what that does to the property values. And then people who have the front of their house is facing south, which there may be a disadvantage to those people. So I have committed to Mr. Diaz that within the next 7 to 10 days that we would come up with specifications and we would have a board vote for approval. And I just asked the commission to take into account that this is a homeowners association, and we are working with Mr. Diaz and other members of the community to develop more specific specifications.
Forgive me, but what was your last name again, sir?
MCHUGH.
Thank you so much. Is that it, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anybody else from the audience? Yes, would you please sign in? Anybody else want to speak? Okay. All righty. So it seems that the petitioner, his issue is that while we've established that notification was given to people within 300 feet as required, we didn't notify the homeowners association, or they didn't know about that, which only, to me, it just raises a question. Is, given homeowners associations, what is their standing in this? Can a homeowners association have stricter standards in our code?
Yes, they can.
They can.
And the village does not enforce their codes, rules, or regulations. So if they had something different, most likely staff would not be aware of it.
That would be their matter. It wouldn't be our matter.
Mr. Chairman?
I'll get to you, yeah.
I'm just going to clarify that. A good example of what staff just said would be fences. The village has an ordinance which allows fences subject to a certain height.
Right.
Homeowners associations, and some of them exist in the village of Orland Park, have a requirement that no homeowner can construct a fence. So what she said would apply in that situation. The Plan Commission and the village board can approve a fence, and the homeowners association can say, no, that violates our covenants, in which event it becomes a civil matter between the homeowners association and the property owner, but the village is in no way involved in that.
Thank you. And that's pretty much the reason I bring it up, because I'm sure I wasn't the only person thinking about that. And for clarification, if they do have something that's approved by the village and the homeowner association doesn't, then that's a civil matter. So thank you, Commissioner Schuessler. And we don't have any other presentations by anybody here? Okay. So I'll go to my fellow commissioners. Did you have anything else, Commissioner Schuessler?
I have a question for the engineer, I think. What type of solar panels are being used? Is this...
We're recording this, so if you're going to speak, if you'd step up to the mic, I'd appreciate it, because we are recording it.
Who's the manufacturer? It's not going to affect how I vote, I'm just curious.
Yeah, Eric Peterman with GRNE Solar. Panasonic is the manufacturer of these solar panels.
Okay, is that, just out of curiosity, a domestic manufacturer, or are they imported? And once again, it doesn't affect anyhow I'm going to, however I'm going to vote on it.
They are manufactured outside of the U.S.
Are most solar panels manufactured outside the U.S.?
Probably more than 90%, yes.
Okay. That's what I had read somewhere, and I just...
Like televisions.
Yeah.
There are very good quality control measures in place, so a non-domestic solar panel versus a domestic solar panel are rated the same based on the quality control check.
Sure.
Somewhat like an underwriter's laboratory review of it.
Are the recently imposed tariffs affecting the importation of solar panels?
Yes.
Thank you.
To a varying degree. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
please. Anything else, Commissioner Schuessler?
No, sir.
Commissioner Zamparelli.
Real quick, is the petitioner here? Mr. Diaz, are you here? How soon did you want these up? When did you want this project finished, completed?
Could you please
Yes,
step
sir.
up as well and sign in? We are recording everything. That helps us out tremendously. Thank you.
Michael Diaz, 10921 Sheridan's Trail in Orland Park.
Thank you, sir.
To your question, the goal was originally to sign the contract with GRNE Solar in August and follow shortly thereafter within a month or two's time. With the current plan in place, the goal is to get this approved by the board on the scheduled date of November 5th, with planning to for scheduling the following day.
November 5th, you said?
November 5th, I believe.
That's a board meeting.
Oh, our board meeting.
Yeah.
That's coming quick. And I'm just thinking I wouldn't want to be on that roof when the snow sets in or the frost. I mean, it's,
Well, I've been assured by GRNE Solar that they do these projects throughout the year, even in the winter months. So, but I'm sure that safety is their
long as there's no
concern,
ice on the
and
roof.
obviously, if it's snowing, they wouldn't be doing that.
one more question. How long do these solar panels last? What kind of a warrant, I'm more curious on that.
So the warranty on the solar panels, if I'm not mistaken, is 25 years.
25 years?
The design of the systems can last as long as 50 years.
Great.
Mr. Chairman, I have another question.
Yes, Commissioner Schuessler.
What happens when the roof has to be replaced? They have to take the panels off?
There are certain contractors have roofers that within their organization that take the panels off and do the roofing. Others, like GRNE, my understanding, Eric, is that they will work with us to find a roofer who will work after the contractor takes the solar panels off. They would install the new roof, and then the panels would be replied.
Okay, so they have to come off to put the new roof on?
Yes.
Okay.
Suppose it'd be most advantageous to have it done when either your house is new or right after you replaced your roof.
Or have a metal roof.
Yeah.
Or have a metal roof that lasts 50 years.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, were you through, Commissioner Crowley?
Yes, there was. Thank you, Chairman. Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you, Commissioner Murphy.
So I actually have a question for Mr. McHugh, if I could. So I understand that the board is relooking at, the requirements that you have for the homeowners association, but today, does this project meet the guidelines of what is in the current?
The guidelines are very broad, so in some of them it would meet, but not all.
Okay, thank you.
And that's what we're working, to get something more specific as a guide, not just for Mr. Diaz, but for other homeowners that may wish to do this.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Shalaby.
Mr. McHugh, if you would be so kind to come back, just a quick question for you.
I don't think I'd sit down for a while.
All right. I mean, just for full clarity to make the homeowner association and the residents as happy as possible, are you asking for a modification to the motion this evening that it gets postponed until the HOA meeting happens? Or are you just filling in saying that more informatory?
It's informatory, and I would hope that, the board would work with us as we, finalize our specifications for this. And that's why I said that we would like to do that within the next 7 to 10 days and have a board meeting and put something together to get, to be able to finalize it for Mr. Diaz. So we are working with them.
Thank you. So the question for staff is that if we proceed this evening, which I presume would happen, there would be this can go to the next.
No, I don't see any reason to.
Yeah, go to the next level and you'd have another chance to appear again.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
Okay.
your meeting would have taken place at that time. Just so that you don't think that if it passes that you've been ignored in any way or shape or form.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
I would ask the board, there was a slide that had conditions in terms of where the approval was. If we could add the Sterling Ridge Homeowners Association to that as well. I don't know which slide it was. It was the second or third slide.
That would be inappropriate.
Okay.
Right, so it goes to committee after,
Yeah.
in the event that it passes tonight, it goes to committee, which is within 2 weeks? Typically?
The 23rd. Next week.
Next week is when it goes to committee.
What we do in no way affects what you're going to do. We can have requirements that are stricter, or we can have requirements that are not as strict as your homeowners association. So
Right.
the two things operate on totally separate tracks. Although you might
Right.
want to provide some input to the village in general, asking that certain requirements in the ordinance be
Right.
changed.
Right. Agreed, and at least I hope that you're in the process of finalizing your guidelines and everything. I hope that this was helpful as you're drafting your rules.
Very much.
Hopeful, helpful in that there's some considerations on here probably that maybe nobody talked about. Gee, what's going to happen if we have glare? And this deals with these issues, and hopefully that helps you. And I would ask staff did you receive a copy of our?
I did.
Okay.
Bethany's been more than helpful
Beautiful.
through the process, so we've had
Good.
conversation. And
So I'm glad. So we've been helpful in,
Yes.
in allowing, in enabling you to establish your guidelines for your association.
right.
That's
She
good.
provided me with a copy.
Yeah, it's good.
So
Okay.
and we'll
Thank,
use,
Commissioner Paul,
be the foreman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
can you sit down?
Yeah, you can sit down. Yeah. From where we sit on this commission today, this is no different than the one we just approved 15 minutes ago. Like I said, I've never voted against clean energy. I'm not going to start doing that now. What happens with the homeowners association, that's, like Commissioner Schussler said, that's a whole different thing. Let you guys deal with it however you deal with it. But as it stands for us here, I don't see any reason not to go through with it.
And staff would like to note that these type of projects are included as one of our goals in our comprehensive plan.
Yes.
To promote these type of green energy projects and sustainability projects on an individual homeowner level.
Yes.
So that is one of our.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Yeah, it's for myself too, and I'm happy to see that we have several more of these coming up for review, clean energy. And I would only have just one question from my own curiosity, and that's from the engineer. Am I to understand that a 7.8 kilowatt system such as this can completely take care of the energy needs of a home of that size?
Yes, Michael Diaz again. We did numerous amounts of, or a lot of research prior to making this decision, taking a look at our past year's usage, and the decision to go with 24 panels versus 23 does offset the electricity 100%. Obviously, that is an estimate, and we won't know until the first few months how much we're actually using versus or producing versus using.
And I think my understanding also, I think some of these are they able to store excess energy?
These
to
are
sell
not.
back to-
There are battery systems that are able to do that.
Yes.
Right now, the cost of batteries is it's cost prohibitive.
Sure.
So as those get cheaper, people will be storing energy. Yes, but in this case, we are linked to the grid. Anything that we use, we use. Anything that's not used, it gets credited to us through ComEd.
Well, I'm glad to see you're doing it, and I'm glad to see it's a priority on our comprehensive plan in the village. It just makes a lot of sense. So at this time,
Mr. Chairman?
yes, sir.
Could I say one more thing for the benefit of Mr. McHugh? I didn't want to seem harsh when I said we can't delay the thing. I believe I was still on the village board when these panels were approved. And my recollection is the staff went and looked all over the country as to what was being done with solar panels at the time. So there was quite a bit of research that was done. Also, I have a son that lives in San Jose, California. My brother lives in Phoenix. And their neighborhoods are just, these things are all over the place. They're very common out in the Southwest, of course, where it's a lot, you have a lot more direct sun. So we're just getting into it around here. You don't see too many in town right now, although you see a few. But there was a lot of research done as to what should be allowed and what should be discouraged with regard to these. And I'm sure if your association has questions about it, the staff would be more than willing to provide some of the background information that they have in the office that went into the adoption of the ordinance that was discussed tonight.
Chairman Parisi.
Thank you. Mr. McHugh, you had something else?
I was just going to comment to Commissioner Schussler.
Please.
I think the consensus on the board is that, we are in favor of solar panels, and it really kind of underscores some of the comments that you made, and we do see it. It's just, I think it's the comfort level of where the panels are located and what it does to the home. And I admit that in 5 years or 7 years or 10 years, there'll probably be a shingle version of it where it'll, be completely different. So this is moving technology. And I didn't want to give you the impression that we were against it.
And I'm sure you're glad to see that the restrictions we have on them as far as the height and the fact that they can't be on the front of the house, and the fact that the glare, as opposed to,
Right.
you'd be worried as a homeowner association, other things that people attach to their homes and everything for whatever it is, satellite dishes and everything. This is a lot less intrusive.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thanks for attending. Thank you. Yes, sir. Have we taken your name and address yet?
No, not yet.
Would you please?
Adnan Assad, 10934 Sheridan's Trail,
Okay.
Orland Park. I'm also on the board.
Yes.
So it sounds like your decision will be independent of what we decide.
That's correct.
Obviously. One of the things I think, and Mr. McHugh, talked about in our bylaws or in our declaration today, it's very vague, but it mirrors what your specification,
Yes.
as long as the glare isn't facing the next house, as long as it's
Mm-hmm.
based on the same roof. One of the questions I had is, what about, we're trying to protect the value and the community if people are facing the south. Is one of the specifications and requirements that it cannot be on the front of the house, on front roof?
No.
It cannot.
So for the roof-mounted solar panels, you can have them on the side elevation or the front elevation.
No, you can. Okay.
can.
However, if you're doing a ground-mounted system, that's where you couldn't have it in your front setback.
Okay.
But you could, and we do have examples in the village where we do have some that are visible from the right-of-way.
Yeah.
And we will have, in the next couple months, a few projects that are proposing that.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it's perfect. It's in the back. Nobody can see it even in our subdivision. I think what we worry about is setting a precedent going forward is for homes that are facing other homeowners in our subdivisions or side, and they want to do the same thing on the front of the roof or the side roof. So those are the things that we have. to
Sure, and
take
that's
into consideration.
precisely why before that ever comes before us, our staff has already done they're doing a review of it, and they have strict guidelines for that. And if it was a situation where placing it at a certain positioning on the home was going to create a glare to a neighbor or any other intrusive thing, then they probably would have in their conditions to move it. So I think we addressed that pretty good, but I understand your question. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, at this time, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, after the motion.
I'd move to close the public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead.
Motion, okay. I move to accept as findings of fact of this Plan Commission, the findings of fact set forth in this staff report dated October 1, 2018. And I move to recommend to the Village Board of Trustees approval of the Environmental Clean Technology Review for a roof-mounted solar energy system at 10921 Sheridan's Trail as depicted on the plan set design packet prepared by GRNE Solar, received 8/14/2018, and additional specification sheet subject to the following conditions. 1, that all building code-related items be met. 2, that all building permit be obtained prior to construction. 3, that all utility conduit systems related to the solar energy system shall not be visible from any adjacent street, from any neighboring residential properties. And 4, additional screening of any utility conduits and systems related to the solar energy system may be required after installation has been complete as determined by Development Services Department.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shalby. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And we've already, so this closes the public hearings. Now, commissioners have received appearance review upcoming petitions, and I would tell you all that if you have any questions regarding those, that you can contact Mr. Hoda directly. And having said that, I move that we adjourn at 7:44 p.m. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the East Coast.
It's the exact same.
And we get a second by Commissioner Shalby. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you, everybody, for
It's the exact
being in
same
attendance.
just in a different format.
So the question is, is a motion upon the public hearing?
So I guess that.
Jump?